is up, man?
What's up, y'all?
What are you up to?
Dude, I've been dealing with IBS for the last 4 days, so
Oh, really?
I haven't been sleeping well. Yeah, man, literally, like, I don't take my pill one day, and it's just like, it is just stomach aches for like days.
Dude, you like that kind of stuff is so intense. Like you can't miss one little thing.
It really, like, it's really disheartening because I've been eating so well lately, and it's just like, man, the one day I had a sandwich and I didn't take my pill, and my body's like, fuck you, you're 34, you can't just eat a sandwich. You can't just eat a sandwich all willy-nilly.
Sorry, my friend.
Yeah, but anyway, excuse me. I've been good. Drinking tea now. I'm comfortable.
Honestly, hopefully, man, this album we're about to talk about had the same effect on you as it did on me, and then that the drum and bass flushed everything out of my system. That it literally flushed all my organs out of my body.
Yeah, if you listen to it loud enough, it's like a sound bath.
Yeah,
Right.
You just kind of bathe in it, and it just kind of takes you for a ride.
Yeah, I couldn't tell, and maybe Rinichey, is it?
Yes.
Rinichey. We'll introduce you, but I was hoping you can tell me exactly how many panic attacks I was supposed to have while I was listening to this record.
I don't know, man. All I get is like an adrenaline rush. It's
Mega.
just, like, yeah, it's so good. Like, don't listen to it when you're driving. You are gonna speed really bad.
Road rage will be like for real.
Yeah. Chasing someone, unfasten your seatbelt.
And so who is this mysterious voice? Well, I'll tell you. It's my good friend who I've known since high school. I believe you have a bachelor's in music theory. Is that right?
Marketing.
Marketing.
Close.
Okay.
Close.
I always get those two mixed up. And you've brought in an album for us, and your name is Rinichey.
Yep, hello.
What's up, Rinichey?
Not much.
Well, y'all might be old friends, but we are just meeting for the first time. So this is super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe this is the first time y'all have talked to each other.
Yeah, I think so.
So if any beef happens, it's going to be on air. We're going to have first impressions, judgments. At the end, you're going to tell each other what your least favorite thing about each other is.
Oh, okay.
And I think we'll kind of go from there.
I hate that you drink tea.
Already, damn, she didn't even wait. I want to do that with every guest now. That at the end we all tell each other the thing that we like the least about each other after the episode.
The most fatal flaw, the most annoying thing of each person.
You're bringing that road rage in here.
Yeah, I'm already bringing the rage that the album put into me.
God, did y'all just listen to it or something? You're fucking hyped.
I'm always hyped for Pendulum.
I listened to it on the way over. It is pretty dangerous for a drive.
That's
it makes you feel very confident.
Yeah.
Well, that's good for you.
But before that, hey buds, welcome to another episode of the Earbuds Podcast. This is a podcast where we two very good friends talk about very good albums for a very good amount of time. But this is a very special episode with a very special guest. This is Earbuds and Pals with Rinichey. And you brought, I am Brett, tiny little water bottle hand.
Aw.
With me, as always, is Lucas, very big water bottle, Lucas.
What's up? I'm very big water bottle Lucas.
It looks a lot like a coffee mug, but don't be mistaken. It's just a very cool looking water bottle.
It's just a ceramic water bottle.
Yeah.
And today, Rinichey brought in for us Hold Your Color by the Australian drum and bass band Pendulum.
It's a good album.
Is there anything that Australia can't do?
Man, live right side up, I guess.
Not have to deal with horrifying giant versions of stuff.
Yeah, not have spiders raining from the sky, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And koalas.
I'll take koalas.
Koalas are pretty dangerous.
They're not as cute and cuddly as they seem.
Oh no, they are like vicious.
Man, it's like otters. Like apparently otters are like super vicious too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But they're so cute.
That's how they get you.
Oh, they lull you in with the big eyes. And
Yes.
then they bash your head in with a rock.
That's how
Go through the throat.
Yeah, that's how dolphins get you too, man. You see a pod of dolphins and you're like, oh, look at the dolphins. And then they spear you in the third rib.
Let's not talk about dolphins.
Oof. All right. Triggered.
And so this, why don't we start you telling us kind of about this album and about this music, man, and just like how you came into it.
Well, I actually came into this in high school, so that was, Jesus, like over 8 years ago, if I'm being like minimum.
If I'm rounding down.
Yeah. I got introduced to Pendulum from my brother, so sometimes we'd get out of the house and just go on a drive, not really any destination in mind, just trying to get away from the parents. And he would play Pendulum, and usually it was some select songs, so I got to hear from all 3 different albums.
Yeah.
But I was just like, man, this stuff is the jam. And I like put it on my own iPod, and I was like, yeah, I'm cruising through high school. I'm a cool person.
You're cruising down the hallways with some swag, and like, nobody better mess with me right now.
Oh, definitely. Used to write fan fiction to it.
Fan fiction for it.
Oh, no.
Not yet.
Dude, drum and bass fan fiction?
You do not do real life fan fiction. That is just a place you don't go to.
Well, I ship bands together.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so I've been shipping Pendulum a lot with my OC band that I came up with.
Okay.
We're called Craig and his boys.
Craig and his boys.
Yeah, the leader of the band is named Craig, and he's got his boys.
Okay, are the boys actually boys?
No, they're men.
Okay.
But they were boys when they made the band.
They used to be in
Boy
Boys to Men.
Scouts?
And it's a new group.
It's actually, I actually have a band that went through a time machine. They're called Men to Boys. Mm-hmm. And they kind of went back in time.
Are they the rivals to your band for Pendulum's Love?
Yes, they are.
I feel like, am I going to be...
No.
Am I going to have to be on like Urban Dictionary to follow this conversation? Like,
oh boy,
you said like 3 words. I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't.
Okay, what do you need?
What do we need?
I need y'all to put like some training wheels on this conversation for me. Shipping.
Oh God. Okay, so shipping is when you basically like when you watch a show and you're just like, man, like they're really trying to push Ken and Jen together. Like, I totally ship that. That means that I like this pairing. I like this relationship. I think they go great together. I ship it.
Okay. Oh, so it's ship with a P, not a B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no ship.
Okay. Thought it was shipping. A ship. Okay.
Shivving.
That's what you do in prison to stay alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you shiv people in the shower.
Yeah. Show your love that way.
Well, just go on Archive of our own, Lucas, and maybe that'll catch you up to speed.
We'll do an earbuds dictionary.
I've already written some fanfic of us, so that's on there.
Ooh.
Do you ship it?
I don't, but it's canon, so I do my worth.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you got into this in high school. Mm-hmm. And why did you bring it to the podcast? Why is it such an important piece to you?
Well, I know back when we used to hang out in high school that you were also a Pendulum fan. And I remember us talking a lot about immersion. Like, I know how much we both really like witchcraft.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. Compachicos, if I'm saying that right. That's also like a slammer. Love that one. But I figured, like, since we both knew Pendulum, I wanted to kind of go for one that, like, we didn't talk about too much in the day. I feel like Hold Your Color was one of those.
Yeah, because I hadn't really gotten to this album before you brought it up.
Yeah.
The other two, I think they just have 3 albums right now, right?
Yeah, it's like Silico, Immersion, and Hold Your Color.
Yeah. And so the other 2, they kind of delved into... They kind of delved away from the drum and bass, like core, into more experimental stuff. But this one is definitely like Like,
Bread
this
and
is
butter.
a bread and butter drum and bass album. Apparently, it is one of the best-selling drum and bass albums of all time,
Damn.
Dude,
which I had no idea.
I was gonna like when I was first listening to it, it reminded me of like every single club and rave scene in any like late '90s, early 2000s movie. I was like, I could see like an American Werewolf in Paris, or like Triple X with Vin Diesel, or like any movie that I remember from back then that had a rave scene. I'm like, this is what I heard in that scene, or like even The Matrix. Like The Matrix used stuff like this.
Yeah.
And you see like the rave dancers with all their like extensions and trip pants and stuff, looking real dope.
With
The big shaggy silkworms on their legs, whatever those are called.
Are those the things that connect the pants together?
I don't know.
The little like chains.
They're just super fuzzy, and they're on the legs, like knee down,
It's little fuzz extensions for your pants.
I guess.
It kind of reminds me of like the stuff that the people in that video of like all those people dancing under a bridge and like all doing
Yeah.
these moves. They're wearing like fuzzy stuff like that
Yeah.
and like fake dreadlocks and shit. Yeah, this is like when I hear, I don't listen to a lot of drum and bass, but when I think of drum and bass, this is like quintessential what I hear in my head.
Yeah. This is kind of more up my alley, so I usually listen to music like this. So usually when I'm talking to people, I'm like, it's not really hitting hard for me. It's not hitting hard enough for me to like it. It's usually because I'm putting it up to this like standard.
Right.
You're like, I need my heart rate at a solid 140.
I need to like
BPMs.
be able to like run and parkour and like be able to like drop kick someone.
All of a sudden you can do a backflip and you're like, I've never been able to do that before.
By the power of Pendulum.
Yeah.
And so it's so we in all the years we've hung out, we haven't really talked about music that much.
Yeah.
So would you say like this is kind of your favorite genre of music?
I'd say so. I usually am like into electric stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that I guess adrenaline pumping is the best way to describe it. Just songs that are like you can immediately think of an action scene with it.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
So that's usually up my alley of stuff. Of course, I like things here and there. There's a couple pop songs I like.
Vocaloid stuff.
Yeah, Vocaloid's good. There's some good ones.
Have you heard of a guy called Author and Punisher?
No, I haven't.
He's kind of like a metal version of this, like metal electronic music.
It's so weird that you say that because I looked at the Pendulum Wikipedia, and apparently the original members were in metal bands in the area before they made this band.
Oh.
I saw that.
Surprised they didn't stay with metal.
Yeah. I mean, I think in later albums there are a couple more metal elements that they kind of put into it, a couple more rock elements.
Yeah.
Yeah, on this record? Because I heard it on this
Yeah,
record. Like I heard
on this
some rock
record, too.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Towards the end, for sure. I was just like, I could hear the metal influence. And like even they had I'm sure you saw this too, but they had a remix album come out of, I don't think it was just this record, but I think it was like a lot of their stuff. And Devin Townsend remixed one of their songs. So like, I think this music connects with some metalheads also.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, it's got that just adrenaline pumping, as you said.
Yeah, head banging.
Head banging.
It's aggressive.
Yeah.
That's how I like it.
It's aggressive.
I couldn't imagine. Could you imagine this type of music with like double kicks and like metal drums in there?
Man, if Trent Reznor did a remix of this whole record, I bet it would be amazing.
And so I did some research into other drum and bass stuff. And apparently most drum and bass albums go at least over an hour and have like every song there's no songs under 5 minutes.
I mean, these are kind of like they're around the 5-minute mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the songs on this record were like 5 to 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
I was surprising, right? You wouldn't think it would go that long, but maybe like is drum and bass more of like the journey of the song? Like they have to let it live and breathe for a while. It can't just be like 3 minutes bangers. And
I would definitely say so, because with a normal song you have like verse, chorus, you know, kind of like in between like verse and then like end with chorus. So you can't really do that with songs like this when there's like no singing.
Yeah, very little vocals on this for sure.
But I very much loved the songs with vocals.
Yeah. They were pretty good.
I would say those were my favorites. I like the, like, again, I don't listen to a lot of drum and bass, but I did get into dubstep for a while there, and I am super into reggae. And you don't make the connection if you don't listen to both a lot, but there's so much reggae influence on drum and bass. It's so weird, like how that can translate.
I was just thinking with one of my choice nugs, I believe, Fasten Your Seatbelts. It has a lot of kind of reggae stuff in there, and apparently drum and bass came from like jungle beat, which came from reggae and dub, and it's just weird to see how these genres connect and evolve each other.
Yeah, you can almost hear some of this stuff in a big rap scene in UK that's called grime.
Yeah, right.
Grime uses this type of dubsteppy drum and bass type beats, and it's a cool, like, I love hip hop, but I don't really like listen to a lot of drum and bass, but it's just like you combine the two, and I dig it. Yeah. So I did like any song on this record that had more of like the obvious reggae influence. Like that immediately I was like, okay, I can find something I could connect with on this one.
Yeah. This guy's a reggae head, so it makes a lot of sense.
UK is like huge into reggae.
Yeah. And from what you were saying earlier, I feel like it definitely does not follow a traditional song structure, and I feel like it's more of a vibe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you go into these albums and it's not really something you critically listen to. You just kind of have on and you take the vibe of the music and you do stuff with it.
It's actually interesting that you talk about the vibe, because I was going to say this whole album, when I'm listening to it, I'm not very well, like, technological jargon about music, but because I am a writer, a lot of this music I can, like, connect to and, like, think of things for. Right. This whole album made me think of, like, the theme of falling. And so a lot of it is, like, when you're falling, you're in a sense of danger, Like, you're not safe, like, there's nothing comforting about it. Like, you're probably going to die when you hit the ground. But then there's also, like, the slow parts of it where it's like you're falling through the ocean or you're falling through space or something like that. Moments where it stops and reflects itself. And kind of that moment of just like, oh my goodness, like, there's nothing I can do. This is out of my control. And the music just kind of takes you with it.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, it's like moments of panic mixed with moments of realizing, like, well, I'm out of, like, I have no control over this, so I might as well either accept it or keep panicking.
Yeah.
Just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, there's actually different songs in here that I think of, like, different types of fights, which I guess I'll get into later when we start talking about the songs.
Yeah.
Are you also a fan of anime?
Yes.
Does this connect with anime? Do you see that they live in the same world, or because I don't watch a lot of anime? You just mentioned, like, fights and stuff. I guess I'm not really understanding
your question.
I guess, like, because you mentioned, like, you like to picture action scenes or fights, like, when you're listening to this stuff, or it's that's how you can kind of get more into the songs.
Yes.
Are you, like, just an action movie fan, or do you think, like, that comes from anime, or, like, where do you think that comes from, like, the connection?
Definitely. I'm definitely an action person, but it's not that I'm not thinking of a fight that I've already seen and I'm applying it to the song. I hear the song and the song shows me what I like. It guides me through it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. I do that. I feel like my whole life I've always thought that was unique to me, but I bet so many people do this where you hear a song and you picture what movie scene it would be in.
Yeah.
What kind of scene would this be in? Like, that's something that I constantly do while I'm listening to music.
Yeah, I've had moments when I'm, like, in the car with friends and, it's like the music's in the background and I'll just, like, the second something, like, grabs me, I immediately just zone out and I go, what is this called? And then, like, because they'll just immediately take me, grab me, throw me into a scene and I'm just like, oh my God, I need to listen to this more. Like, I need to flesh this out.
Yeah. Kind of, like, develop it in your mind a little bit.
Yeah. Incubate it.
It's cool when you can put context to the music too. Like, it helps you get into it.
Yeah, definitely.
So when you return to these songs, do you kind of return to those action scenes you were thinking of, or?
Yes, and it's usually sometimes I'll have moments with specific songs where it'll take me back to a moment. Like some of these songs on here, I actually can remember some of the fan fictions I wrote for it. There's also ones where it's like I can distinctly remember exactly what I was doing when I first heard the song, but most of the time I can pick and choose what I want to do. So just today I was trying to figure out a fight scene, and I was like, oh god, like I've written myself into a corner. What am I supposed to do? And so sometimes I can get into these musics and like just let my mind wander and be like, okay, is something gonna come here? And usually I'll get that spark, and I'm just like, oh shit, I can do this.
And it helps getting that spark, like listening to this kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no drugs
I
involved.
usually.
No drugs.
That's impressive.
Whenever if I'm ever writing stuff, I can't listen to music, just because like it distracts me so much. It's probably because I listen to a lot of lyric music. I don't listen to a lot of instrumental stuff.
Yeah, I cannot do lyric.
Yeah, and so this is kind of because it does have. Some of the songs do have lyrics, but not a lot are focused on the lyrics at all, and it's kind of another instrument, another additive to the music.
Yeah, whenever I never really actually pay attention to the lyrics. Like I could sing a song, but I might actually not realize like what I'm singing because I've never really put too much emphasis on what they're actually saying. If it's someone talking, I can zone in on that, and I don't really like that. So I usually like music where there's no singing at all.
Okay.
Are you talking about in general or when you're trying to do creative projects?
Mainly when I do creative projects.
Okay, because I did look at the lyrics to these songs, and I'm sure they're trying to say something.
Yeah.
But a lot of it seems like
not a lot of
like,
substance
I don't know,
there.
This is a cool enough phrase. We'll just put it in. And, like the features that just got in the studio, and they're just like freestyling, like on like Tarantula.
Oh yeah.
You know, Tarantula.
Yeah, that chorus was really catchy.
It is.
I thought that would probably be another one that you would like, Lucas.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, we can get into it whenever, but I had a hard time picking choice nugs because, and again, like, I'm a virgin to this type of music. It started all to blend in together.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I would hear one song and then I'd be like, oh, you know, like there were in pretty much every track, there was like little things that I'm just like, oh, I like that, or I love how that sounds. Like this record definitely, it's probably a universal thing, but this record really benefited from me listening to it on these headphones, like on a really good pair of over-the-ear headphones.
Sure, yeah.
I listened to this in the car, and I listened to it on my home stereo, and then I listened to it on the headphones, and the best experience was listening to it on my headphones.
Definitely.
It's
get that
you can get
stereo.
Yeah, and you get all the richness of like how good it's produced, like how nice all the synth sounds and how clean everything is. Like you can really hear everything, and it's super bassy, right? Like I love that electro bass that they use.
I mean, yeah, that's like one of the fundamental parts of the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can hear how dubstep like totally took that and just like turned up the gain.
Went on 200 miles an hour with it.
Maybe a little too much.
It's never too much.
It's never too much. I dig that. I mean, it's yeah, like we said, like it's weird to hear the reggae influence on something that is just like so manic and fast paced and aggressive, but it's like reggae influenced dance or drum and bass, and then drum and bass influenced dubstep, and dubstep is almost incorporates even more of the reggae stuff, but it's still all really aggressive. So it's like it's an interesting combination of the things.
It makes you wonder how, like, what pissed off dude got these, like, had such niche tastes.
Yeah, some DJ who thought he was smoking weed and ended up being Angel Dust, and then he wrote drum and bass instead. He was like, I'm gonna write a badass dub record, and then he's like, he's like, I don't know what's happening, and he's sweating.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, just blanket statement, that's why it blended all in for me, was because of that drum part. That it's just it's a fallback of drum and bass, or it's just a thing that you hear in a lot of drum and bass. But that's something that, yeah, like an hour and 20 minutes of that is just like, it's a little like taxing it's like an assault, you know?
I can get that.
Yeah, and especially like I'm Lucas, you're even more into like metal and metalcore. And I'm like punk is usually as far as I go, and I don't even listen to that too often. So the aggressiveness did actually kind of get to me after probably halfway through the album, and it was like a little like I had to take a couple breaks just because I was like, I'm like to take a breather, let my ears rest.
Dude, yeah, I listen to thrash now, and there was a moment where I just kind of stepped away from the record for a little bit. And but yeah, it's like I said, like it's super aggressive, but when you listen to it with really good headphones and you can really hear like everything that's going on, it's hard. Like on certain speakers, all you hear is the drum, right. and the higher synth stuff, like really aggressive, distorted synthesizer. You put on headphones and you can hear every little thing that's going on, and it like while it is like a cacophony and like an assault on like your senses, it's being able to like just sit down and break it down. Like as a musician, I enjoyed that part of it a lot. Yeah. And it's all in context, right? Like you said, you can't sit down for a nice bath and listen to this.
Sink into the bubble bath.
Yeah.
Just the candles and
slam is going.
You have a nice bath bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, just light some lavender incense.
I can definitely see about the taking the break thing because, yeah, I also need to do it here and there because when you're full of such adrenaline, it's probably also not good for your blood pressure.
I can imagine.
Well, yeah. It's just so interesting because it is most of the songs use the same type of drum beat and they're mostly the same type of tempo, but all the other music is very varied, I'd say, throughout this album.
Yeah.
And it's something I didn't even notice the first time through just because I'm a drummer, and so I just unintentionally just hone into the drums. And so the first time listening to this album, I was like, every single song is the same. I don't get it.
Yeah, whenever Christina listened to it, she was like, is this the Powerpuff Girls drums? Like the drum part?
It is.
And I'm like, oh shit, is it?
Oh my god.
It is the Amen break, the most used sample in history. Is what most of the songs use. That
yeah.
Right?
Oh, is it really? Like,
yeah. Well, not every song, but most drum and bass uses about 3 or 4 like drum beats, for nearly every song, so have I seen. But my second time, I told myself, okay, chill out with the drums. I'm just going to focus on anything else. And I enjoyed that listen a lot more. Because even when the drums are going on this fast pace, there will be some music that's even kind of laid back a little.
Yeah. No, there's definitely one song in here that's pretty laid back in my opinion.
And I think the moments I liked the most on this album were when the drums kind of took it back a little, even just at the beginning and the drop happens and it just goes into a break beat.
Yeah.
Slam opens up with like a nice hip hop kind of feel.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tarantula opens up with a little bit of a reggae vibe, Even like Girl in the Fire, the intro reminded me of like Radiohead or something. Like a little Radiohead guitar-y type intro.
It's groovy. Even.
And it's jazzy. That one's jazzy. It was like Herbie Hancock on fucking crack. If y'all haven't heard Herbie Hancock, he's like electro jazz. And that's what like Girl in the Fire like sounded like a Herbie Hancock song after a while.
Oh, have to go check him out.
It might not be energetic enough, and your blood pressure might get too low.
Oh, we'll see.
That's dangerous for a whole another reason.
Yeah.
I could have sworn, listening through this album, I could have sworn they've played Tarantula at Amazon while we were working.
What?
No shit.
You're just packing boxes. Jada, Vita, serial killer. What?
Oh no! Oh god! It's 8 a.m. I can't handle this right now.
The adrenaline.
The most productive 6 minutes of your career.
They're just keeping you on your toes.
Yeah. Come out of a daze, just like what happened?
You don't need a forklift.
There are 18 stacks of boxes. I'm like, I don't remember stacking any of those.
Trash them?
I carried an entire one by myself. I just
throwing pallets around.
we don't need a pallet driver anymore. I'll take him. Just put it on my back. So I think it'd be dope if we get into our nugs.
Okay.
In the choice nugs.
Yeah, let's start with the guests. What are your two favorite songs on this album?
Well, I gotta start it off with Plastic World. That is probably one of my most favorite songs in like any album.
Yeah, I made a Twitter post on Twitter and I was like, what like album or song like changed your life or like was a big impact on you? And you said Plastic World.
Yep. Distinctly remember it was like recently after when my parents divorced. My dad had just gotten a new house and we were kind of still at the age where, you know, dad would take us on the weekends and mom would have us on the weekdays. And it was just hitting me pretty hard, and my brother had come back from college for a little bit, so he took me over to Half Price Books, and I was really into Spider-Man at the time, so I got myself a Spider-Man encyclopedia. But he had taken me out on a drive, and I remember Plastic World playing, and I just went back home and like just laid in my bed and just played it again, and I was just like, man, like things are never really going to be the same again, huh?
Dang.
Yeah.
That's a moment.
Yeah.
That's a big moment.
Yeah, but I really don't. I can still remember that, but I can disassociate that memory from the song because I just like it. It's just like, it's like a sleepy New York night, but there's still something going on, you know?
But it's still New York.
Yeah, New York.
Yeah, and it still has the boom
Yes.
drums. So,
but that's an example of what I mean by like falling. Like when you actually like get to, I guess the chorus of it, like it kind of just feels like you're drifting.
yeah, those nice vocals. It's almost like they're running it through a synthesizer or something. It's just like very soundscapey and just kind of giving this like rigid drum beat, this like nice flowy thing on top of it.
Yeah. I don't really know how to describe it. Maybe you guys know what it's called, but I really like music that's much like Plastic World, where it's like the song is actually it hits more low points than like a song that would hit like is always peppy and super high and is always like going for the high points.
Kind of more melancholic.
I don't want to say melancholic, melancholy. No.
Deltronic, maybe.
Yeah.
Melanchala.
I'm not into like super sad songs, but just ones that just like when you hit the chorus, instead of like it, the hook is not, the notes aren't going higher. The hook is actually the notes going lower. And I'm like, oh, I like that.
Unfortunately, I don't think we're very big music buffs in technical sense or anything like that. But
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I totally know what you mean too. Yeah, I don't know music theory, but yeah, I totally get that. And it's like it's almost unconventional songwriting, right? Like the chorus is supposed to be the catchiest, the part that everyone wants to sing along to and all that. And I think that's to me, I describe it as like songs in major key and songs in minor key. Like I think that's kind of related to what you're talking about, where it's like I don't like happy songs either.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have, to me, a happy song has very little emotion. So like I like to have a song it's sad or it's angry because those are stronger emotions to me.
Yeah, definitely.
But actually, Plastic World was one of my choice nugs also.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I dug it.
Hopefully not for the same reasons.
No, but I totally connect with that. Like my parents got divorced when I was at an older age. I was a freshman in high school. I was also dealing with, like all of a sudden my mom lives in an apartment and I have to stay there sometimes now. And I can connect with why you like this song so much because like there are albums that got me through really tough times, and that's I think one of my favorite things about music is that it's a time and place thing.
Yeah.
Like despite it being a tough time in the moment, it's probably a nice memory to go back to when you realize, oh, this song's gonna help me through this, or when you realize this album was helping you through it.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, that spins it into a positive there, and you can go back and it's this comfort food almost, you know. But Plastic World I liked a lot because like coming from Slam is like real, just like aggressive and like just pounding you in the fucking nuts for 5-6 minutes. And then Plastic World has the really chill vocals and that chorus that almost sounds like Pharrell wrote it or something. It just has this like soulful, like na na na, like type of jazzy R&B feel.
Yeah.
Sounds very 90s. And Brett, you know, I'm a 90s. I'm a sucker for. I'm a 90s simp.
You're a little grunge boy.
I'm a grunge boy. So yeah, Plastic World, definitely one of my top ones. I think, you know, it's probably going to be my criticism for every song on here. Is just it's a little too long. But I totally understand it now, where you kind of just like you pointed it out. It's like it's not really chorus verse. It's, you know, it's they're kind of taking you through movements rather than taking you through like, you know, moments, you know?
Yeah. My favorite part in Plastic World is actually the part where they do start singing, like near the end, that little verse part. I actually really love that part.
Yeah, like the last like 2 minutes of it, like someone's kind of starts rapping a little bit, and then ba ba type of stuff, and it's like, yeah, I dug that a lot.
Yeah, it ends with the saxophone on like you're on the docks or something like that.
I liked all the saxophone on this too.
Oh,
that was a nice addition.
Yeah, and apparently those were like musicians recorded the brass. That wasn't like a sample or anything, which is something that surprised me a lot about this album, is how few samples were on this thing. And how most of it, aside from the drums, were original music.
I just assumed it was all original music.
No.
Except for some sound effects I know.
Well, with a good amount of electronic and drum and bass and stuff, there's a lot of samples, you know, pulled from other songs or something. I think it's a cool way to make music, but I think it's even more commendable that most of this stuff is just stuff they made on their little synthesizer or something, you know?
Yeah, like for Tarantula, I thought the horns were like synthesizer. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, there's like 4 different dudes that are playing like 4 different types of saxophone on this record.
They got a whole brass group.
And I think it's all saxophone, which I dig. I'm a sax guy.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I love saxophone. So yeah, you put a saxophone on a song, that or a flute, and like I automatically, it's already bumped up 2 points with me.
Yeah, if it's jazzy, I'm just like, all right, I'm here for this.
I need a nice breathy organ for me, and then that'll put me in my sweet little spot. There's a little. So what was your second choice?
I'm gonna go with the title, "Hold Your Color." It was a tie between like "Hold Your Color" and like "Girl in the Fire," because I also have some like really vivid memories of "Girl in the Fire" writing fan fiction. But I do just really like "Hold Your Color." Like it's kind of like somber again, kind of like Plastic World.
Yeah, and of all the songs I looked at the lyrics to, I feel like "Hold Your Color" had the most substance to it, and it was actually like saying something. Which I'm not gonna dog on the other songs for like not having a message or anything, because that's not what they're trying to do. But this one had a message that I couldn't really. Like it's very vague, but it kind of about the universe, and that's not stuff I'm usually able to parse.
Yeah.
But this one was sung by one of the original members, I believe.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. What's his face?
Mike something, I think.
I don't know. He's the one that sang on the Dead Mouse song.
I think it's Rob Swire.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Didn't he also sing Witchcraft?
Yeah. He's. I thought he was just a singer for all the songs.
That's what I thought too.
And then I listened to this album, like he's only on like 2 or 3 of these things.
They got tons of features on this record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like Hold Your Color. That one sounded like a pop song that was remixed to me. Like it sounds like a Euro house remix of a pop track. That's, you know, and especially the intro. The intro is like, that's a pop song. and then it busts out to this like really glittery Daft Punk kind of synth voice going on in the background, like really hype song.
Trying to
You trying to hear it?
sneak a little listen.
You
Dude,
did not
yeah.
do your homework.
This album has 15 songs on it. It's a lot to remember.
I have to listen to these albums while we're talking about them, dude. I can't. You think I just come up with all this all in my memory? I smoke too much weed for that.
We were gonna do that, but my hearing sucks.
Oh, so you'd have to like turn it up?
Rinichey's got beats on, so it's like
Dude.
noise canceling.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you've been listening to too much Pendulum if your hearing
Yeah.
sucks right now.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine going to a live show with a band like this.
man.
It must be insanity.
Yeah.
I would like it a lot more live, for sure.
Yeah. I feel
For
like you
sure.
could definitely I think I could only see one band though. Like I would get in it, I would get in the mosh and I would go crazy. And then after that band's done, I got a stretcher and
Yeah.
someone's just got to carry me out of the venue.
Yeah.
Just go back and forth, like Pendulum plays, and then like Simon and Garfunkel's after them. And
Yeah. Like some Bob Marley or
yeah. Oh, Bob Marley would be
down.
great.
Get a water bottle.
just kind of like drain your ears. Let them
Let-
just like sink into a pool or something.
Sweat out the Molly,
Yeah.
crap out the booze, and you can go to the next band.
And so those are your
Yes.
two choices. And Lucas, one of yours is Plastic World,
Yep.
and the other, I'm gonna guess, is Fasten Your Seatbelts.
Good guess, man. Again, it was hard for me to pick, right? Because it would be like there was something on every song that I liked, but then the moment the next song started, I would forget the last song, like almost immediately. Fasten Your Seatbelt's cool, but actually, I went back and forth. Fasten Your Seatbelt was a little too Caravan Palace for me.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
I love Caravan Palace.
I know, I like them too, but they were also like, I got into them in 2008, and I haven't listened to them since.
Sure.
Yeah, and you were what, 8 years old, so that doesn't count.
I was 13, sir. Thank you very much.
Caravan Palace is a little too advanced for you at 13.
But
But I did say
Caravan Palace.
I love them.
I got really into them. But yeah, a Fasten Your Seatbelt would be great in a rave. Like that was one of the ones I wrote down. Like I would love to see this live because that's when I would get really into it. But it also kind of sounded like something I would hear like in a amusement park.
The do.
Oh.
Yeah. But
Shoot the
that one
little
actually
aliens.
uses that one uses a sample of a Buju Banton song, and I love Buju Banton.
Oh.
Did you know
He's,
Fasten Your Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Did you know Fasten Your Seatbelt takes like little sound effects from Spider-Man 2?
I read that. That is awesome. They sample some random shit. They sample like Willy Wonka.
Yeah, that's a whole.
We're gonna.
Yeah. Through the
And yeah,
loop.
apparently Doc Ock, like some of his some dialogue of his is used in this one. But yeah, Buju Banton is he's like my favorite Jamaican dancehall artist. So that was kind of cool that they sampled one of his. But no, man,
Did you
my
recognize
other
it?
No, I didn't.
Ah.
I didn't recognize it, but when I read it, I was just like automatic points because I love Buju. But I actually went with Sound of Life
Oh, really?
as my other one. I really like Jasmine Yee's voice a lot.
That one is pretty good.
Yeah. It has that same wasn't it the Amen beat?
Yeah, the
That was
Amen
called?
break.
Yeah, the Amen break. It has that same one, but I like the synthesizer a lot, and it's very like soundscapey. Like they're just holding down a button.
Yeah.
It's just wow.
It's got those little arpeggios that you love so much.
Yeah.
I didn't write down if they were arpeggios or not, but I was pretty sure they were.
I actually hadn't heard half of this album until recently. I had only heard the ones that my brother had played when I was little. So going through this, I was like, oh, there's some new songs in here that I'm going to hear. And let me tell you, Through the Loop made me like I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like these new songs, but then I heard Sounds of Life, and I was like, oh yes, okay, this is good.
Yeah, it's great. Her voice is really good. Her voice is like
Yeah.
very chill, like very nice on the ears,
Yeah.
The deep bass throughout the whole song is nice too. You got that like electro bass going, and then you have these little guitar. There's not a lot of guitar on this record, but they have that like
Kind of like a background little,
yeah, almost like another Daft Punk thing, like they did on their their last album that was like so disco-y. Like this kind of reminded me of that a little bit
right,
too.
yeah.
Apparently, she's a singer of another Australian band.
Yes, but I couldn't tell you which one.
I think it's Halogen. And
That sounds familiar.
I tried to find their stuff because I really liked her voice, and I couldn't find anything by Halogen on Spotify.
Really?
Right? Yeah, I thought it was kind of strange. There was a Halogen on Spotify, but it was another drum and bass group, and I'm like, well, that's not who I'm looking for because she's in a rock band. But yeah, I thought this was another one that sounded like a pop song remix to me.
Right, and it has a lot of textures in there.
Dude, yeah, I'm a sucker for that type of stuff. Like Thievery Corporation, like that's like the 90% of the reason why I like them. And how reggae influenced they are. But Thievery uses that stuff all the time. And I guess they're arpeggios. I think that's like one of the only musical terms I know.
We'll just use it constantly, and if it sticks, it sticks. If we're right, we're right.
Yeah, I mean, until someone corrects me, I'm gonna keep using it. This song also reminded me of Prodigy, and I love Prodigy.
Yes, yeah. Prodigy is. I love the. If I'm listening to any electronic stuff, it's usually like rock influenced, like the Prodigy is.
Yeah, Prodigy is super like industrial metal influence.
Yeah.
Or they influence industrial metal for all I know. But apparently they've worked together too. Like Prodigy has done some stuff with Pendulum.
Oh.
Which made a lot of sense once I heard this one. Once I heard Sounds of Life, I was like, dude, I could totally hear this being a Prodigy song.
Right.
But I like this game of guessing each other's choice nugs.
You want to guess mine?
I know one of yours.
Oh, she already knows?
Yeah, I already told her one, but I'll tell y'all that neither of y'all chose them.
I know.
I'm gonna assume that
we hadn't hit either of yours.
All right, I'm gonna guess, and just let me finish. I'm gonna guess.
Okay.
Like, don't just like say yes. Like, I'll just say the two: Fasten Your Seatbelt and Tarantula.
No.
Neither.
No. You got Fasten Your Seatbelt. That was
nice.
That was one of my choice nugs, as well as Slam.
Yes, I was gonna say that.
Slam. Dude, when I heard Fasten Your Seatbelt and I heard that Caravan Palace, I was like, Brett's gonna love this one.
I love that. Because I didn't connect it to a carnival at all. I was just like,
yeah, I was gonna say I didn't think that either. Now I'm gonna think of that.
Yeah, now I can't not think of it.
The like scary like carousel like merry-go-round with like the horses on fire. Burr, 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 burr.
Yeah. And just like everyone's like dancing, but it's
And like I had no idea the Fasten Your Seatbelts. I had no idea that would be from Spider-Man 2. I thought it'd be from like Fast and Furious or a Vin Diesel type or something.
Yeah.
Dude, Spider-Man 2 is probably the most Fast and Furious of any of the Spider-Man movies. So
and then
it's like steampunk and shit. Spider-Man 2 is awesome.
No, that is just awesome.
and Slam was the other one. I thought it was a cool like after the prelude, I thought it was a cool transition into it. It had one of the more recognizable riffs to me, like one of the more things that like we're a rock band and this is a riff, you know, which is what I like.
Yeah, it had a like. Are you talking about the that part?
Nah, talk about
Slam.
Oh, you already moved on to
I'm
Slam.
talking about.
Jesus, dude.
Come on and slam.
I'm already on to the
And
next
welcome
thing.
to
All right,
the
why don't you
Jesus.
try to keep up, huh?
I'm with you.
But yeah, just how it starts off with that very hip hop sounding swagger kind of beat.
Oh, dude, like Slam is the perfect song to open up Hold Your Color. Like the way it just hits. Like I always think of like doors opening, like the big bad boss coming through. Like they know they're the toughest shit here, and there's like people coming out being like, "Hey, they're the toughest shit here." But like you can almost just feel those footsteps of just like this is a badass.
Yeah,
It almost sounds like if Korn made a hip hop song. If that makes any sense.
Elaborate a little.
It's mostly the little guitar parts or synth in the background, like, and it's kind of shaky sounding in the intro. It just sounds like a effect that Korn used a lot on their on one of their albums.
All right.
But I do love that hip hop intro, man. Like I wish they used more of it. I wish they used more of those laid back beats.
Yeah, or at least return to it in the song.
Right.
It just happens in the intro, and then the rest is. I love the build up to the drop. I love the But I think it would have been great if because this song is about 6 minutes long. They could have returned to it one more time. Give us the good stuff that we like.
Yeah. One more time for the boys.
One more time for the boys back home.
Do y'all listen to Death Grips at all?
I've been trying, but not lately.
I can't really get into them. And I haven't really heard a lot of their stuff, but Slam to me sounded like a Death Grips song, while also not, I haven't heard Death Grips. is what I imagine a Death Grips song would sound like.
How I imagine a band called Death Grips would sound like.
That sounds right.
I'm like, I can hear a guy rapping over this even when it gets, when that tempo picks up,
And so you had something to say about a couple of the other tracks on the album? Is that right?
Yeah. I'm very upset with Through the Loop.
Really?
Yeah, let me tell you, I love everything about Through the Loop. Like, it sounds like you're on like a spaceship, like it's like you're out of fuel, everyone's dead. There is something on this spaceship that is coming to get you, like, and you're not prepared for it. It will kill you if it gets to you. And it has that like very horror-esque feel of you trying to run away from it.
Yeah.
I didn't want that thing to be Willy Wonka. But the opening's beautiful, and then all of a sudden, like when I first heard this song and I heard that, I was like, no.
Is there any way of
No. It didn't need it. It didn't even like fit in the song. It just felt weird, and then it gets to all the beautiful stuff again. I'm like, yes. Then they close with it, and I'm like, no, stop.
Well, let me give an argument for Mr. Wonka.
No.
All right.
Yeah, I have a rebuttal as well.
It's because this scene where they're going through the river, right, is the craziest scene in the movie by far, and maybe any movie I've seen, because it's just so out there, and none of the rest of the movie is anything like it. And you see pictures of chickens getting their heads cut off, and he's screaming at the top of his lungs
going, yeah.
And so like I just like when I was hearing this song, like that emotion came back, of watching that scene for the first time.
I understand that. Think of it from a writer's perspective, though. If I'm trying to write something that I literally described to you, and then Willy Wonka comes in, I'm immediately thrown out the window, and my train of thought just jumps tracks, and I'm just like, what? Why are we in the chocolate factory?
Yeah, I would say, like, I love your idea of, like, this impending doom, that you're on this, like, ship where everyone's dead and something's hunting you. And I think, oddly enough, the Willy Wonka stuff does kind of work with that idea, because Willy Wonka is kind of a creepy ass movie.
I know, but I don't want to think of him.
Well, I'll message Rob Swire and we'll try to get it removed from the song. Okay? All right.
Just send him a sternly worded note.
Why did you include this?
A sternly worded drum and bass laced note with the beat behind me, and I'll just be kind of like rapping to it.
Rap your note to him.
Like, at the very least, if they were going to include it, could they just have not included the entire song? It's like a minute of just this guy being like, we don't know where we're going.
It could have been a cool interlude.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe just keep it separate from the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's like one of those songs that someone would take and like make it slow and melancholic and weird for like a movie trailer.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it fits perfectly for that.
I also thought it was super cheesy, as well as being a little cool.
Like I said, I love Through the Hoop Loop when Willy Wonka's not in it.
Right.
It's an air ball with Willy Wonka, but it's a swish without him.
Yeah. Exactly.
I heard Through the Hoop. I had to run with it.
Come on and slam.
Welcome to the jam. That'll be the Jock Jams is actually going to be our next episode.
Oh my god, really?
Dude, don't toy with me, Brett. I would say the very, very close choice nug that almost took the place of Plastic World for me was Tarantula because of the reggae.
Right.
Tarantula's pretty good. That one's iconic.
Yeah.
And it's cool, man, with when the saxophones are playing, I think they have a synth going on playing the same thing in the background. So it adds this like really unnatural sound to the horns. So I didn't think that they were live horns. And then I looked it up and I was surprised. And I'm like, that's cool that they kind of put a synth over to kind of make it sound a little less live brass, you know?
Yeah.
I really like when the song slows down or like when the instruments pull back for a second.
Kind of just
like,
leave the drums.
Yeah, it's like you just hear that part.
Right.
It's just like really cool to me. It's just like I can think of really cool things with that.
Yeah, and I wish they kind of played with dynamics more often on this album.
Yeah,
like
that's what I wrote that down too. More dynamics, like bring me up to that level that y'all are playing at, but also like bring me down and let me fucking regain my composure a little bit.
Yeah.
And they do that in this song. They do that in Tarantula, like in the 2.5 3 minute mark. I think that's what you were referencing is just this part where it's just the drums and like a bwah, 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 bwah.
Oh yeah, that part's good.
That's enough for me. So I'm just like, yes, give me, if every song had a part like that, or if every song had a breakdown or a little bit, I think it would be, I can listen to the whole thing in one sitting and not get a nosebleed.
Yeah. Girl in the Fire is definitely one of those top contenders. It was like a mix between Hold Your Color or Girl in the Fire. I love how it starts off. And kind of going back to what you're talking about where it's like, you know, do you think of anime when you think of this stuff? Like the moment where it's like the guitar comes back in, it's like do 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 do. And it's like I always think of like, you know, you're on like it's a starry night. There's like a woman, long hair. It's just wind blowing. She turns to the camera, you know.
Cool.
And there's a moment later in it where it kind of dials back, and you got the little ditties of do 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 do.
Yeah.
I always felt like that's like an interlude where it's like the whole story stops and everyone's just in an elevator and they're just kind of waiting for the story to start again.
It's kind of
yeah, the TMNT thing where they're all in the elevator. It's just
well,
man, I wish I could remember what Radiohead song this reminds me of. I need to figure it out.
Of Girl in the Fire?
Yeah, the guitar parts in the beginning sound so much like Radiohead to me, and I can't pinpoint which one.
Well, I'll kind of try to listen in, but I think maybe we ought to move on to the rating, the little rating section of this podcast, which I may have forgotten to tell you about.
Oh, thank you.
But it's just, you know, a 0 to 10 scale. The 0 worst, 10 best.
Okay.
And, you know, we just kind of give our thoughts of the general thing.
Okay.
So if you want to, maybe Lucas, you can start it off so Rinichey will have a chance to kind of,
Yeah, well, I figured out what song it is. It's Paranoid Android. So,
okay.
Check those two out back to back. They're kind of, those guitar parts are really similar, and I like both of them for that. So, man, just like a few of the albums that we've listened to on this podcast, like if I did it like I was doing it last year where I listened to it once and just gave my immediate, first initial opinion.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I probably would have rated this much lower than I'm going to today. But like I've said, like context of how I listen to music is like super important. Like when we were talking to Jay about morphine, like I can't just freaking play, video games and listen to morphine. Like I can drink whiskey on my patio and listen to morphine, and it's a way better experience. Yeah. I think it's the same with this. Like Brett, your suggestion of like to play video games while I'm listening to this, like that was a good suggestion, So I think after like multiple listens, I definitely like it more. I was able to get over the drums and like how repetitive it was for me, and really pick out, again, listening to it on these headphones, like really pick out all these little things that I liked on pretty much every song. There was at least one thing that I liked a lot. So I would say my rating, just because this is probably not going to be something I go back to often, but there was a lot of things that I did enjoy about it, I would give it like a 5.0.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude, originally I was going to give it like a 2 something. And then after listening to it a few more times, I was like, okay. And always talking through it. Like I've said this before too, like talking through it and like understanding like why you like it and like your connection to it. It helps, it puts it in a different context for me. I can listen to it a little differently. So even like going through this episode, like I was probably going to give it like a 4.0 going into this episode. And then after like listening to it while we're talking about it, I'm like, okay, there are some pretty dope things going on here, despite it not being something I would gravitate towards. So yeah, 5.0.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have your rating?
I guess so. So I don't really listen to a lot of like full albums. Usually I just like pick and choose songs when I'm listening to the radio or friends are playing something. So I never really sit down to actually listen through an entire album. I would really like to give this an 8 out of 10 just because I have so much nostalgia for it, and there's a lot of great songs in here that I still love. But the songs that I don't like, when I don't like them, they're just not my cup of tea, and it's kind of sad. Like there's a couple in here that I'm just like, I'm not probably going to go back to this. Like,
what would you say are like the songs in here? Like like the songs you don't like, what about them don't you like as compared to the other songs?
Well, we know Through the Loop.
Well, yeah. If Willy Wonka's on it, that's
goddamn Willy Wonka.
Blood Sugar and Axel Grinder actually kind of just, they really didn't have much. I will say Blood Sugar had a little more than Axel Grinder, but both of these kind of just meshed together, and it was just like, I couldn't get a clear picture of anything. Like, especially Axel Grinder. The first part before it actually drops, that's great. I love that. But when it actually drops and gets to it, it just sounds like nothing. Like, they're kind of just not really doing anything with it. And I was just like, you really dropped the ball on this one. Mm-hmm. So I think I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Oh, okay. So, oh, dang, I made you drop a point.
No. I already thought of those going in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I will say those last 2 tracks were definitely flyover songs.
Well, it's because they were bonus tracks that got added later.
Probably shouldn't have been.
Yeah,
that definitely, if those 2 weren't in it, it probably would have still stayed an 8. But because they were included,
lowers the quality of the overall album a little bit. And I could see this being way more fun to listen to as tracks rather than an album, right? So we're sitting here and listening to an hour and 20 minutes of this in one sitting, Yeah, it's a little different experience if you just have it on random with a bunch of other stuff playing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so as an album, as a piece of music that you're supposed to listen to in one sitting and give your full attention, I would probably give this thing a 3.5 if I'm being honest. Just because I did it earlier today and yesterday, and I got a pretty bad headache each time.
No shit.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It could also be the headphones. These aren't the best supported little cushions on my ears or anything.
You're my sensitive boy.
I'm a little sensitive boy. But if I weren't paying as much attention, if this was an additive to an activity, if I was kind of maybe shuffling the album, if it didn't matter as much, I'd probably bump it up more to a 5. Because there are definitely a couple of these songs I'll go back to when I'm in the mood for this stuff.
Yeah.
But there's no way I'm probably ever going to listen to this full album again.
Honestly, I kind of feel the same.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe it's
As
not
much
meant
as
to be
I
heard
love
that way.
Pendulum.
Yeah, maybe it's just not meant to be heard that way. You know, like I don't know how
Yeah,
many like
I mean-
dude, it's like the same thing with we've talked about this before. Like I love metal, but I can't listen to an hour and a half of metal. Like just
Yeah.
sitting
Yeah.
there.
Like, going back to the adrenaline thing, it's like, you either have to be doing, like, a workout for an hour and a half, or you're just literally sitting here just like, I gotta do something, I don't know, I gotta break into a car, or I gotta, like, break some bricks,
I gotta commit some kind of crime right now.
Yeah, so everyone listening, if you're gonna commit a crime, just pop on some Pendulum right before it.
This is great work for you.
You'll be
Yeah.
pumped.
Yeah. Or if you just want to forget the next hour and a half and you're gonna wake back up with sore muscles.
And a tooth missing for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. And an extra finger.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's not your finger.
Oh.
So you said a 3.5, Brett?
3.5 as an album, as we've been reviewing them in previous episodes.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But higher if it's just something to pop on.
Yeah.
I dig it, man.
All right. So that is the episode. Thank you everybody for listening in. Thank you for checking us out. We're anywhere you can find a podcast. You can comment on our stuff, and we will narrate the comments live on air. And we actually have
We have our first comment.
I'd like to. Yeah.
We got our first comment, and it's a
Do you
doozy.
want to read it? Are we reading it now? Are we saving it for like a different episode, like a comment episode?
Dude, you know what? I think we have some time. I can read it right now.
Because I was gonna make the joke. I was gonna be silent because I didn't know we had a comment.
Oh yeah, dude. We got a comment yesterday and said, "Dope episode, dudes." And that's from Creations from the Void. Thanks, man.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, man.
Wow.
He liked our morphine episode.
And we'll you just whatever you want to put on there. Well,
No,
Never
literally
mind.
put anything you want, and we will read it. But we're gonna credit you.
I can test that. I can put a whole fan fiction in there.
I mean, we can have a whole episode dedicated to fan fiction if we have to. If you put me in that
reading my
position,
friend's original fan fiction.
Yeah.
Pendulum times, what was it? George and the Boys.
Yeah, Keith and the boys.
yeah, you can find us on
10,000 words.
you can find us on Instagram at EBPcast. You can find me, Lucas, at Jean-Luc Guitard. You can find Brett at Brett Hannerhan. Where can we find your socials?
Rinichey on Twitter.
And how do you spell that?
Rinicchey.
Okay, and you're on like Archive. You're on.
Don't look me up on her.
Jeez.
Look me up on Twitter.
Hard edit.
Just gonna censor.
No, they can look for me on there. It's just like, you know what I write.
Well, if you guys want to read some weird porn, I don't know what we're gonna get on
Shut
Archive.
up. Shut up.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and introducing us into the world of drum and bass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Rinichey,
Yeah,
this
man.
was awesome. You were great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, with that, Lucas, this was good.
Brett, this is good. And a 3, and a 2, and a 1.